Good morning, everyone. I'm forecaster Jack Sillin here to discuss the severe weather forecast for Wednesday, May 9th, 2018. Here we have a look at our GOES East water vapor satellite imagery. As always, a great starting point to look at the setup across the country. As you can see, no major weather systems today. One little area, weak area of low pressure developing off the east coast that will not produce any impacts of note today. Another storm moving, another little weak system moving across the central part of the country, fairly ragged and disorganized, but producing some shower and thunderstorm activity this morning. This is the system I'll be taking a bit of a closer look at, as it will be producing a severe weather threat across parts of Illinois and surrounding areas later this afternoon. Then we also have this system up here spinning off the Pacific Northwest. That will also not be producing any impacts of significance. So a few rain, maybe some high mountain snow showers up in the Pacific Northwest today, but otherwise not really expecting any impacts from this system. It's this kind of ragged, disorganized system in the middle of the country that we'll be watching for some severe weather today. Shower and thunderstorm activity already ongoing. We're looking at a composite radar map of the state of Illinois this morning. We have this little swirl near Davenport. That's some remnant energy from yesterday's severe thunderstorm, or strong to severe thunderstorm activity. It's known as an MCV, or mesoscale convective vortex. So while that may sound intimidating, it's just an area of kind of spin that's left over from yesterday's thunderstorm activity, and it's helping to spark a few thunderstorms this morning to the west of Chicago. These thunderstorms generally below severe limits at the moment. If we press this little button here, we can get an HD radar image of those storms. And if we click to zoom into county level, we'll see a fairly disorganized array of storm cells kind of moving in this little line. And if we press this play button to animate, we can see that they are slowly moving off to the north and east. Again, generally remaining below severe limits. If we take a look at our vertically integrated liquid product, you can see some marginally high values here between 25 and 35. That is not indicative of very large hail, but you could see some small hailstones, pea-sized hailstones, mixing in with some of the heavier downpours. Again, nothing major, but just something to keep an eye on as you're heading out the door this morning. Statewide, some of those storms earlier were producing a little bit more intense circulations with a little bit higher vertically integrated liquid values. Those are kind of dying off as they move to the north and east. So some small hail, could see some gusty winds. As always, even though the storms are below severe limits, they are producing lightning, so watch out for that. Here's our lightning analysis product again. If you want more information, click the map to zoom into county level. Then you can see exactly where these strikes are hitting. And if you want to learn more information about a specific strike, then press one of the strike icons, and you're going to get a street level map right here with the strike location pinpointed to within a couple hundred meters of the strike's actual location. You're going to get information about its power, it's the date, the exact time it hit. So lots and lots of information. If you're looking to place the strike in a little bit more of a context, you can pan and zoom this map. So you can see these strikes are occurring to the west of Chicago, associated with that line of storms. These storms, as we move later in the day, will begin to dissipate. We can see that with our weathermodels.com simulated radar imagery. So here is the model's forecast for this morning. You can see that little swirl moving through northwestern Illinois, the thunderstorm activity out ahead of it in the Chicago area. That will gradually fade away and dissipate as that system moves to the northeast and kind of runs out of steam. So then we'll look for a lull in activity early in the afternoon. Generally dry conditions, could see some sun begin to peek out across parts of Illinois before the main round of storms develops later in the afternoon and evening. You can see nothing too intense here, some disorganized kind of clusters, little line segments trying to develop, nothing too intense. But you could see some damaging winds and a few hailstones as well. Again, nothing major, but something to keep an eye on. Looking at current observations this morning, one thing I want to just point out quickly is the southeasterly winds across parts of Indiana and Illinois. Anytime you have southeasterly winds here at the surface and your winds are westerly aloft, you get that turning in the atmosphere that could help to promote a tornado threat. Again, not thinking a very high-end tornado threat at the moment, but you could see a few localized spin-ups, if you will, due to these southeasterly winds. Here's our little boundary that we'll be watching as a trigger for the severe thunderstorm activity. You can see the southwesterly winds west of the boundary and the southeasterly winds to the east of the boundary. Looking at the ECMWF's thunderstorm composite map, we can see get a general sense of the overall setup here. Nothing, again, too intense. You can see there's kind of an absence of strong mid-level winds, so that's part of the reason why we're expecting disorganized severe thunderstorm activity as opposed to a more organized squall line or more organized supercells. So we're lacking that wind shear, but we have enough instability. We have that trigger mechanism I just talked about, the little boundary there, and just enough wind shear to get some of these circulations to pose a severe weather threat. If we go back to our simulated radar imagery, you can see that those thunderstorms will weaken and move off to the east as we move later into the night tonight. More severe thunderstorm activity expected tomorrow, but again, nothing too intense. We're in a generally quiet pattern for severe weather as our ingredients generally remain separate from one another, so not getting that classic combination of instability, lift, and wind shear. That could change as we head later into the month of May, so we'll keep an eye on that. That's it for me for now. I will have a few more updates later in the afternoon and evening as some of these storms develop. You can follow me on Twitter at Jack Sillin and follow us at WEATHER.US as well. Thanks for watching and have a great day.